Any good program, you should play an Anthem. Well, I brought a little trick today. This is not, although it does say theremin on the program. Do you guys, anybody know what a theremin is? Hands up. Anybody knows? No idea? Nobody knows what a theremin is? All right, Royce knows. He's an educated one. Well, it's actually, technically it is not an instrument, but it was something developed in just before the 1920s by a scientist named Theremin, who worked for the Russian military and was working in the field detection end of science. Magnetic, electrical field detection. He would develop technology with a plate here and a plate here, and he would put a voltage between them, and if you walked between them, it would change the voltage between. You could detect that electronically, and that's a pretty good thing if you ask the military. But what he also did was he developed it into a musical instrument and printed, actually he produced I think 600 or 700 of them and then sent them to every musical store, supply store on the planet pretty much. And then we slowly began to see them slowly integrated into classical music and eventually pop. Do you guys know the song Good Vibrations? Good, good, good! You know that one? Well, that one's got a theremin in it. And when I'm playing this, you may remember that sound from the song you mostly, I'm sure, have heard. What we have here is not a pure theremin. A pure theremin has two levers, well, I guess two actions, two things that you change on the instrument. One is what looks like a big antenna. And if you ever see somebody play a theremin, they just look like they're standing there in a trance. They're not doing anything, but you're hearing changes based on how close they are to the antenna, because we're changing the electromagnetic field around the antenna. The other thing that comes in a legit theremin is another piece just like this, a loop out of the side of the box that you put your hand on to bring volume to 0. As you lift your hand off, the sound gets louder. I have no volume control other than what's on the side of number 1 here. As well, I'll let you in a little bit more on the theremin after we show you what's going on. What we're doing here is we're using 3 AM radios and very little else. The big antenna here, actually I kind of chopped out of a walkie-talkie. You can get them out of anything, but it's a very simple deal. Radio number 1, you turn it on, and then you tune it to the top of the AM dial, where there's nothing but static. With number 2, so what you do is you turn on your radio, and you go to AM, and I think I'm already there. There's AM. You go to the top of the dial, here's what you hear. Okay, well that's good. Once you got that there, and up and loud, then you bring out radio number 2. Well, it's AM as well. And you tune it to 425 kilohertz below what you tuned that one at, because the oscillator inside radio 2 overrides all of the other noise that it's currently picking up, all the other static. So when you bring it in, it goes silent. After you get that rigged up, you bring out radio number 3. This is the one where we actually made the change. You take the dial where you tune, and you disconnect the antenna, the normal antenna on the radio, you disconnect it. You take this antenna and connect a wire between it at the base and 1 pin of the thing you use to tune your 3rd radio to the same frequency as number 2. After you get that done, that's when the fun starts. I'm going to leave the mic off just for a sec while I tune, so you don't have to hear all the bad stuff.